probiotic and hormone-free. Have you tasted the new air-chilled chicken? Or my chicken nut? CB chicken. It tastes way better.
I save from VM Building Society. Every deposit got me here. Every step forward put me in the driver's seat.
For everything you're looking forward to, open an iSave account today. Visit gotomyvm.com to get started.
Every $25,000 you save with iSave earns an entry to win cash or a new home of your own. The more you save, the more entries you get, and every entry has a chance to win a brand new home of your own. VM iSave is the key to winning.
Here's to the early risers, and we are here all-nighters, the go the extra milers, and let's do it until it works. Workers, people who are powerful because they power through day after day, challenge after challenge. You see, true power is not something you can buy or collect. It's something that starts on the inside, and you always know it when you see it. Sunshine Snacks Peanuts, proud supporters of the powerful.
Ray and Navy, Fury Culture, yo!
New beginning, we winning, so share our spirit where you living, yeah.
Share it!
I make we all a one bar, you don't know we come from far.
From far, Any
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The quest for immortality begins tonight. Only once before has any team in the league's history lifted the title on 3 consecutive occasions, but that is the rare air that Cavalier seeks to join beginning tonight. At the first hurdle, they'll be taking on Waterhouse, the team they defeated in 2021 to begin their ascent into inevitability. A team with renewed hope under new management in the form of Javier Einstein. They'll be hoping to play spoiler tonight. But it's Cavalier versus Waterhouse in the Ray and Nevy Jamaican Premier League playoffs. And we are live. We're here at the National Stadium with the defending champions Cavalier. They'll be seeking to get an unprecedented three-peat. I'll be your play-by-play commentator for tonight, John Stewart, live here at the National Stadium, where all the playoff games will be taking place tonight. No home and away fixtures will be going on. And alongside me, I have the ever insightful Leger Williams.
John, I don't quite think matches get any bigger than this one. Maybe the semi-final and the final at least. But Waterhouse and Cavalier, especially I would say from the perspective of Cavalier, they have become the perennial team in the Jamaica Premier League. Back-to-back champions now. 3 titles in the last 5 seasons. As a matter of fact, they've been to the semi-final at minimum in the last 5 seasons. And many would say that their dominance began with a title win against Waterhouse in 2021, that penalty shootout victory at the Horace Burrell Center of Excellence, the season right after the COVID pandemic. This Cavalier team won on penalties in a very hotly contested final, a final that had a red card, a final that had action from both ends. It was only fitting it would end in a penalty shootout, hopefully. Well, at least from the perspective of both head coaches, this tie won't end in a penalty shootout. I'm sure they'd love to win it outright. But I'm certainly looking forward to that competitive nature of these two teams coming through. Cavalier, many would say it's a down year for them. This Cavalier team finishing 6th in the regular season. Not quite at the same races that we've become accustomed to seeing them at. But they've hit form, they've hit stride right at the perfect time coming into these playoffs. Waterhouse, they were struggling at the start of the season. Many people were wondering if it was time for their previous head coach, Marcel Fuzzy Gale, who is now a part of this Cavalier coaching staff, to move on. Waterhouse finally made that big decision. They headed to Argentina. They got Javier Einstein and another experienced coach in Alex Thomas to be his assistant. And since then, it's been the up and up for them. Waterhouse, when Einstein took over on the 7th of January 2026, they were in 8th position. They finished the season in 4th. An extremely impressive record for that Argentinian head coach. And he's looking to guide them to something they haven't accomplished in 20 years, a Jamaica Premier League title. It will be tough because Waterhouse have become what many would consider a team possibly as a perennial nearly men in the Jamaica Premier League. Since they last lifted the title, they have been runners-up on 5 different occasions, including 3 finals which they would have lost under the tutelage of the said Marcel Fozigale. Can a new dawn begin? Can a new time for Waterhouse commence under new leadership? It remains to be seen, but they'll be looking to make an important first step here tonight in the quarterfinal first leg at the National Stadium in Kingston, Jamaica. There's the aforementioned Javier Einstein, joined by Alex Thomas at his left, and Luca Levy, a former wonder kid, a former prodigy, a former representative of Jamaica at the under-20 level, now leading fitness at Waterhouse. And all 3 men will be looking to lead this team to capture not new heights, but heights that their fans so desperately crave. John, I don't quite think I did this game justice, but I'm sure our fans and the fans present in this stadium at Current, and everyone watching at home, of course, are certainly anticipating an absolute corker, especially following that fantastic 3-all draw between Racing United and Portmore United that preceded this game. The time is almost upon us, John.
When you speak about that earlier game, Leger, both teams I thought played an absolute blinder. For much of the first half, Portmore were in complete control. But what about the fight on show from Racing United to get back into the tie despite being 3 goals down at one point? And they showed some absolutely amazing resolve and resilience. But speaking of resolve and resilience, we speak about Cavalier and how much they've gone through over the last couple of years to win, I believe, 3 finals, and they're seeking to win their 4th in the last 5 years, but also, well, the 3rd in the last 5 years rather, but 3 in a row. They've had to do it the hard way at times. Last year they pretty similarly had some struggles at the start of the season, as you're about to see the players come out here, but they managed to get themselves ready and up for it once they got to the playoffs, and somehow turned what was a pretty leaky defense into a stingy one by the time the playoffs rolled around. Only conceded, I believe, 2 goals in the entirety of the playoffs last year. Can they repeat the trick again? Can they ascend into immortality? Do they have what it takes to go the distance once more? That remains to be seen. We'll be back to give you more in terms of pre-match analysis. But for now, we'll let you enjoy the view as the players walk out. We'll have the national anthem of Jamaica.
or soccer club, I should say. Jamari Gordon in goal, the young man. Giovanni Leng, the experienced man at centre back. Shamar Watson, Akil Henry from Trinidad. Daryl Massicott, Adrian Reed, Christopher Ainsworth, Kimarley Scott, Shad San Milan, Lewis Watson, and Livingston Donaldson. They lead out ahead of Rudolph Speed, the technical director. Waterhouse FC, Roger Williams in goal. Kimani Campbell, their captain, Rashawn Amos. Alexander Bicknell at the base of midfield. Leonardo Thomas, Amani Leacock, the Bajan. Neron Barrow from Guyana. Kavis Paul, also from Guyana. Jesus Murillo Gudino from Panama. Shamari Dyer and Shamari Dallas leads out their unit. Javier Einstein, the aforementioned man from Argentina, he is their head coach.
Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts. We're in for quite the ride tonight. It's been a pretty up and down season for Cavalier. They've had plenty of moments where they seem to be down and out. But you know, Leger, I think they relish doing things the hard way. They always seem to make a theater, a spectacle of the game. They had to claw and fight their way into the playoffs. And of course, no better display of that than on the final day of the league season.
Yeah, against Harborview, when they had to come from behind to win that game 2-1 and secure their playoff berth. As we mentioned, 6th position is where they ended up, leading them to face, it was actually 5th position, I beg your pardon. They ended up leading them to face Waterhouse, who finished in 4th position. Cavalier, they love to do it the hard way. As a matter of fact, they have won 4 Jamaica Premier League titles. 3 of their last titles, all coming in this decade, have been won by the penalty shootout, as mentioned previously as well. The first of those 3 coming against Waterhouse in 2021. A couple players who had notable experiences in that final still don the colors of their respective clubs, including Giovanni Leng, who missed in that final. Kimani Campbell, the captain for Waterhouse, also missed in that final. So both captains with demons to avenge. But it was Cavalier victorious on that day. How will this day play out? The first leg of the Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League quarterfinal clash is underway.
And so it begins, a night to remember for many. But I'm sure a team that has built a culture of winning will not take this lightly. Of course, coming into this, there will be some who perhaps view Waterhouse as favourites as they lose the ball here, given that Waterhouse have gotten the better of Cavalier for much of the season, won 2 of their 3 encounters, including the last game, the last time they met. No foul there on Leonardo Thomas, says the referee. That's played over the right-hand side and unable to get around his man there. That will go out for a goal kick.
And I think this prompts now the first bit of intrigue for me, how Waterhouse will aim to build up. We've seen them have issues at times under Javier Einstein. Cavalier not applying significant amounts of pressure, so it was comfortable on that occasion. But I will be looking out to see if that's going to become a constant thread throughout this game as Shamar Watson wins this one in midfield.
And one back there by Dyer. Plays it now into the path of Dallas. Looks across and tried to find his man, unable to, and Cavalier regained position, but only momentarily. That's played back to Roger Williams in goal.
Yeah, I'm sure Cavalier will be looking to imprint their signature style on this game. They love to play on the transition, do Cavalier, especially with those speedsters up top. You see Christopher Ainsworth, Daryl Massicott, so too Kimarley Scott, the young exuberant player. Recently won the local Manning Cup in Jamaica with Excelsior, leading from the front. He'll be looking to make a similar impact, I'm sure, for Cavalier, but
they're through here and they've scored! Oh! It's only taken 2 minutes, but Waterhouse draw first blood. Neron Barrow, the goal scorer on this occasion. Waterhouse take the lead here through some wonderful build-up play.
yeah, and how uncharacteristic is it? Cavalier carved open, seemingly out of nowhere. It's a talisman once more, Amani Leacock, finding Denardo Thomas, who had the presence of mind to find Neron Barrow. And in acres of space, he was never going to make a mistake, nor did he. Waterhouse finding an early goal in this quarterfinal clash. And you said they love to do it the hard way, John. Cavalier. That war of attrition in their mind begins early in this game.
They only conceded 1 goal in their last 3 games coming into this match. Seems as though their questionable defense had improved over the course of the season as it wore on, but they've been undone here rather early as well. And now the defending champions have an uphill battle. It's going to be quite the task now. Of course, only 1 goal in it, but ooh, at Waterhouse, they've begun as they left off 4-0 win last week against Dumbo Holden, where they pretty much dismantled them. They're in great form. And I tell you what, Javier Einstein spoke a couple of weeks ago to us about resting players and wanting them to be fit and ready mentally for the playoffs. Seems that gamble has paid off thus far.
Yeah, especially with the 2 players, or 3 players who would have combined for that goal. Amani Leacock has gotten through a lot of hard yards throughout this season. He's the one who started the playoff. We haven't seen much of Denardo Thomas, I would say, over the last 3 game weeks or so. And Neron Barrow, he's been making cameos off the bench. But there was always a feeling that he would be pivotal for Waterhouse in these playoffs. And he's shown his worth early in this contest. Waterhouse, I'm sure, will be looking to impose themselves on this fixture now.
Most definitely. And Neron Barrow, so far in this season, hasn't scored a lot, but when he does score, they tend to be rather important goals. And Cavalier, of course, they do have players who know how to rise to the occasion as well. They have Jerome McClearly on the bench, who scored a couple of goals in the playoffs last year in both the semi-final and quarter-final. Of course, he's on the bench today, but they do have some players with big game credentials. Now here's Captain Leng looking downfield, trying to find Massicot, and he does. Turns back. Oh, the pass just a bit behind his teammate there, and Bicknell can move forward now with Godinho. Passing it to Dallas, to Alexander Bicknell. Lovely switch of the play there. Find his man, Kimani Campbell, who's made a habit, rather, of late to score some really impressive goals from a technical standpoint. See what he has up his sleeve today, the skipper. Played back to Williams in goal. Played downfield, trying to look for Denardo Thomas, who got the assist. Oh, he's won possession. Oh, and inexplicably, the champions have surrendered a 2-goal lead. Denardo Thomas turned provider in the first goal, and now he scored one himself.
Wow. It seemed as if it was an aimless pass over the top of that Cavalier defense, which would be defended. But Jamari Gordon, the young custodian for Cavalier, found himself in no man's land. Akil Henry shielding it for his goalkeeper. But who was most alive in the situation? It was that man, Denardo Thomas. And after providing an assist, he provides a goal that has Waterhouse and their supporters dancing for joy. We saw a quick start in the first quarterfinal. This one is more than quick. It's Waterhouse 2, Cavalier 0. Barely 7 minutes on the clock.
Cavalier 0, Waterhouse 2. Leonardo Thomas with the Waterhouse second goal coming in the 7th minute.
Dumbfounded. The Cavalier players on the pitch would not have expected this. Of course, as I mentioned before, they've had some defensive woes over the course of the season, but they seemed to have improved that. But even if you look at the underlying numbers, we were researching before the game, it did suggest that they were perhaps overperforming on that side of the ball based on the quality of the chances that have been created against them, and seems that, who knows, maybe perhaps regressing to the mean here, but wonderful finishing on display from Waterhouse. But has to be said, the defending champions not looking as stingy at the back as they usually are. The communication between goalkeeper and defender on that last goal, not what it needed to be. Jamari Gordon, the young custodian, will have some answers, he'll have some questions to be asked of his defense.
Yeah, I think he was just stuck on his line as he approached. Was caught in maybe two minds there, Jamari Gordon. I believe only 16 years of age. Gordon Cavalier have always been a team that believes in youth, promotes youth. As a matter of fact, the youngest team in the Jamaica Premier League at an average age of 20 years. The youth and inexperience probably showing at this moment. And Waterhouse, they have taken full advantage. Roger Williams confident in claiming that one.
I mentioned the youth, they have plenty of players who, as I mentioned before, have bought into the winning culture but have brought it over from schoolboy football, of course, not least Kimari Scott, who played rather well in their last game. Provided an assist for Ainsworth. He won the Manning Cup with Excelsior. Was brilliant over the course of the season. They'll be looking to him for some sort of attacking impetus. Dyer's pass is cut out there, headed on by Leonardo Thomas, trying to feed Barrow, the goal scorer of the first goal. But they placed their trust, their confidence in the youth, and they're gonna have to ask them to bail them out. Cavalier used to, as we said before, doing it the hard way, but this is quite the task. 2-0 down in only 10 minutes gone. Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah, coming into this game, similar to the first quarterfinal that we saw between Racing and Portmore, I didn't expect an outpouring of goals. My expectations have already been usurped in the first game, and it seems as if it will be a similar thing in this second quarterfinal. Neron Barrow giving some earnest chase to this one, and he is onside. Tries to find a pass.
Plays it down the channel now for Dallas. Oh, plays a lovely pass now into the path of Leacock, who gets his shot away in time. Saved by Gordon, but also seems there was a foul given prior to.
Yeah, I believe it was on Kimarli Scott, who was marching back, trying to help Cavalier in a defensive sense.
Ooh, Bicknell's won the ball high up the pitch here. He's racing down that left-hand side, looking for support. And still has it, but seems he eventually did lose it to Morrison. Cross coming in. Leonardo Thomas to chase. He's already got a goal and an assist in this match. Unable, however, to keep that in play.
How will Cavalier regroup? I know we said that they love to do things the hard way. I know we said that they love the attrition whenever they achieve anything, but already such a tall order. Not only because this is a quarter-final, not only because it's a 2-0 lead or 2-0 deficit that they're facing early in this game, but it's also because of Waterhouse's defensive record, especially since Javier Einstein took charge. Bicknell with a lot of space in the middle of the park. Gioleng caught out of position, but Jamari Gordon doing excellently well. But that defensive record for Waterhouse, since Javier Einstein was officially appointed, he was, I would say, in charge a bit before that official statement on January 7th. It's been 24 games. They've won 15, drawn 4, 5 losses, 13 clean sheets from those 24 games, only conceding 16. They have been a formidable defensive team, and it has led them to 49 of a possible 65 points. But even before Javier Einstein, keeping clean sheets and defensively wasn't necessarily a big issue for them. It was more so scoring goals. Under the tutelage of Marcel Fuzzy-Gale, it was 15 games they had played, as Denardo Thomas clutching his right hamstring. Under Marcel Fuzzy-Gale, 15 games were played. Only won 4. As we see a replay of his goal here, Denardo Thomas, a staple in this Waterhouse team. And you need those types of players, those staples, to provide in big moments. And he already provided at this point. This time, he was clinical all on his own. But yeah, under the tutelage of Marcel Fuzzy-Gale, was in charge at Waterhouse for quite some time. Started this season 15 games, only 4 wins, 4 draws, 7 losses. They had a relatively decent defensive record, conceding 16, which isn't awful. 7 clean sheets though in those 15 games, which is essentially half of their games, but only 15 goals scored from those 15 games. I think that was the biggest issue for Waterhouse. I'm not saying they've turned into goal-scoring juggernauts. They haven't. But they've found ways to win games. We saw a lot of 1-0 victories since Javier Einstein took charge. And then towards the end of the season, we started to really see their goal-scoring exploits become greater and greater. And it has really come at the perfect time.
You speak about goal scoring, the top goal scorer this season, Colorado Murray, ended the season with 13. And to do it without him tonight, it takes some doing, it takes some bustle. As he did suffer a horrific injury a couple of weeks against Chapelton Maroons, to see them playing to this level, it does show you what kind of, not just depth, but the spirit that they have.
Yeah, Colorado Murray suffering from a concussion following that terrible collision he's had with Donhue Mitchell. The last time we would have seen Waterhouse in a broadcasted game against Chapelton Maroons match week 38. I think he will be possibly until next week Sunday at minimum before we see him in a Waterhouse squad once more. But not to be concerned too much, Waterhouse, they do have several fantastic strikers in their ranks. Not only Naran Barrow, who has found the back of the net already in this game, but so too on the bench Javane Bryan, who would have won the Jamaica Premier League's Golden Boot only a couple of seasons ago with 18 goals. So he's always a big option for them.
Christopher Ainsworth, who with the cross was left expecting to find Massacre, to find it however.
We did mention in that Chapelton game that we did. It was, as I said, match week 38. Waterhouse, under Javier Einstein, they switched to a 3 at the back system. It was much more of a 3-4-3 system with 2 attacking players floating behind a central striker. But ever since that day, we've seen a little bit of an adjustment from them. And I just had a feeling they were trialing something for the playoffs. And my feeling has, I would say, come true. They've gone much more to a 3-5-2 system. Maybe you can call it a 3-5-1-1. Denardo Thomas floating behind a central striker today in Neran Barrow. And 3 central midfielders in Bicknell, Jesus Maria Godino Maria, I beg your pardon, as well as Omani Leacock. So much more security from a midfield standpoint. They do say defense wins championships, and Waterhouse are certainly battening down the hatches, I would say, in these playoffs. But they're scoring goals as well. And they have 2 early ones here against Cavalier. Kimarlis got fouled down the left-hand side.
Lovely turn there, but he was fouled. And it'll be a free kick taken quickly. Now with Henry on the ball. Playing it to Watson. Milan. Able to find Scott there. That's put out of play. About throw into Waterhouse. And I suppose that does raise the point of experience versus youth, because of course, as you mentioned before, we've seen a number of the younger players step up for Cavalier this year, but so far in the playoffs, where the atmosphere, the environment is so different, it's been some of the players that have been staples of this Waterhouse team that have actually stepped up tonight. And as we see another one of them on the chase, trying to get around Gordon there to see the ball, unable to. But it does raise an interesting point, because we've seen the departure of Jamara Calvin, who scored 20 plus goals last season. We saw the departure of Dwayne Busy Atkinson, of course Richard King, who was their captain, and Rock at the back. It does raise an interesting point of whether or not they perhaps should have sought to retain just a bit more of those senior players, but of course they had to get moves overseas.
And I think a very important player that they're missing as well, which I'll touch on after this corner, as it's menacingly swung in and eventually claimed by Roger Williams, the Waterhouse goalkeeper. I think 2 players that they're significantly missing would be Vina Bartlett, the St. Lucian International goalkeeper. That's a huge miss for them, I think. As well as J.D. White, who has transferred over to Arnett Gardens. Well claimed there by Godino. Tried to play in Shamari Dallas and eventually took a shot, but right to Jamar Gordon, who's 16 years of age. You have to think that his lack of experience will be a big factor, and already has been a big factor in this playoff run, as opposed to goalkeepers who have won titles for Cavalier. Not only the Jamaica Premier League at that, but also the CONCACAF Caribbean Cup, and competed in the CONCACAF Champions League. So significant players have been lost by Cavalier. Their ethos has always been promoting youth, such as Adrian Reed Jr., who's standing over this free kick, who has played in the last 3 Jamaica Premier League finals. But at what end in some aspects? They did say it was a rebuilding year, their technical director, Rudolph Speed, and their coaching staff. But many people, especially since they got into these playoffs, would have thought that Cavalier would have carried a significant threat, and they still certainly have over 160 minutes to carry that threat. It could start with his free kick.
Oh, a decent one! And it's been saved, pushed onto the post by Roger Williams. Eventually cleared. Oh, lovely effort from the young midfielder, who has quite a goal-scoring touch to him. Scored, I believe, 6 goals so far this season. Looking to get his 7th there.
Yeah, fantastic effort there by Adrian Reed Jr. And he'll take this in-swinging corner as well.
Oh, pushed away and follow up there, unable to make clean contact, and eventually gets the shot away. Took a deflection, but it seems he was off his own teammate. And as Roger Williams goes down, that will certainly be a goal kick for Cavalier.
I suspect it will be a tactical timeout as well for both teams. We've seen already in these quarterfinals, these young quarterfinals, the first legs, that getting a goal back at any significant moment in the game could be a real momentum shift. Portmore United leading Racing United by 3-0, and that first goal by Tajay Grant in that game led to just an attacking onslaught by Racing, and that first leg tie finished by 3 goals apiece. So Cavalier will know that this tie isn't over. There's still, I would assume, with extra time at the end of each half, around 175 minutes left to be played in this tie. Still so much time. Waterhouse, I'm sure, will be trying to control the festivities. They're in control of the tie right now. It's all up to them to maintain their control over this game. Be much more patient in possession, try and score when the opportunity arises, but be smart about it as well, and understand that they're the team in the dominant position.
I have no doubts that of teams in this playoffs that would find themselves with their backs against the wall, the Cavalier are the team that you'd least likely want to count out. They're used to being in situations like this. They know what it takes to overcome adversity. And so even 2 goals down, as early as it is, they don't want to be counted out, but now they have a shot. They're going to have to defend here. Godinho surging forward. He's still going through. Oh, he's seemingly... The referee waves that play off. I thought that was going to be a penalty for sure.
I think he might have overrun it in the end and just took a tumble. You saw the referee claiming a dive, and it certainly was one. But my question at that point, why isn't it a yellow card heading the way of Jesus Godinho Murillo? And I'm quite surprised, especially seeing that the referee acknowledged that it was a dive, that there wasn't a yellow card brandished. But a huge opening once more. Once again, the Cavalier defense looking exposed right through the center. That's where the first goal came from. That's where the second one came from. And a run in behind once more. The undoing of a defense that we know to be so good, especially in these high pressure situations. It was almost exposed at the expense of a goal once more on that occasion.
It's a great run by Godinho, who, of course, we don't know to be necessarily an attacking threat, but we've seen even the course of the last game that, well, the last 2 games where he's been venturing forward a bit more. Perhaps a tactical decision by mastermind at the helm. I have to say, things are getting a bit spooky for the defending champions. As mentioned before, defensive record as of late has improved, but overall, over the course of the season, not necessarily what we've come to expect. But they have plenty of time to right these wrongs. Still have a half and more to play. Aerial duel there, won by Mr. Paul. Now Leacock on the ball, and he wins a foul there. Godinho trying to get past Adrian Reed Jr. unable to, and goes to ground, wins a free kick. Just going back to the penalty there, did seem at first glance, first look, that as though contact was made, but you were right, Leger. Upon looking at the replay, most definitely there wasn't a touch, and did bring up an interesting point. Why wasn't perhaps the card brandished to Godinho, but nevertheless, could have been a pivotal moment in this game. 2-0, doable. 3-0. Of course, the last game notwithstanding, usually tends to be a death sentence for most teams. Now it's about what they can muster up going forward for the defending champions. But as you can see there from perhaps their most ardent supporter at the game every week, they are in no sort of rush or nervousness, because they know that they're in complete control as of now. Mr. Sean Amos, who, speaking of never being rushed, has been phenomenal right throughout the season, but he will concede possession. It'll be a throw into Cavalier. To be taken now by Ling, who's advised just to pull back a bit further, and seems he's left it, I believe, for Reed to take. Headed on. Down to Thomas coming out second best in that aerial duel, but Waterhouse have the ball once more. Paul looking on that right hand side for Barrow, who's unable to keep it in play, and in the end, great defending coming in from Cavalier there. Lewis Watson. Headed now into the path of Watson once more. Lovely pass, but lovely attempt. Dyer. He's been shoved off it here. Some pretty physical play from Christopher Ainsworth, who's had a bit of a position change so far this season. Typically deployed as a left back, but so far this season he's been playing on the left or the right of the attack, and he's produced whenever called upon. Top goal scorer for Cavalier so far this season with 10. Such an amazing creative threat, and you speak of players who have experience winning titles. He's already won 3 of them for Cavalier despite only being 20 years old. Phenomenal player. There's the ball there to Massicott. Cross into the box, searching for a body in white, unable to find any. That goes out for a goal kick. Saw them score from a set piece last week, of course, courtesy of that header from Adrian Reed, which kick-started the comeback. And could they repeat the trick here tonight? Set piece taken, and that's cleared at the near post there by the goal scorer of the first goal, Norman Barron. For those just joining or perhaps unaware, yes, Waterhouse 2 lead, 2-0 thanks to goals from Norman Barron and Donaldo Thomas. Cross coming in there, but way beyond any of these shirts. Painted with white, and that will go out for a goal kick. George J. Williams will take. It's been quite the show that's been put on for us today. 3-3 draw we were treated to right before this game between Racing United and Portmore in the first game of the playoffs in the quarterfinal stage. And oh, what a game it was. Had some amazing goals, had thrills, had spills, and even a comeback. And a team that seemed down and out, and Cavalier, of course, can take inspiration from that. But as of now, we've largely been second best here today. Amos playing that into Leacock. Trying to play it over the far right-hand side, unable to, but gets it back now from Alexander Bicknell. And Leacock wanted a foul there as he tried to burrow his way through the midfield, unable to. Lovely little back heel there by Leonardo Thomas. One of the most creative players in the league. So gifted as a playmaker. There's young Scott. There's his position. Godinho. And it's a foul, and he will eventually get it. Tried to head that on for Godinho, unable to find him. And there's Leacock playing it over to Thomas. Twisting and turning, tried to bide some time before finding a teammate. Under pressure here, and eventually surrenders possession, but he does win the foul.
Shamar Dyer looking once more for a pass over the top. Jay Williams, assertive as usual. Waterhouse trying to settle in possession now. It has been quite simple for them to do so. They really have had the flow of things in this game. Shamar Watson and Cavalier win a foul there.
Jay Williams playing with fire there, as he so often does at times, but got away with it on that occasion. Godinho finds Bicknell, and I have to say, Leger, Cavalier are a team that thrives on chaos. And they can create some now, and they do! They've thrown this game wide open. The floodgates are open now for the defending champions. They've gotten a goal back. And that's some fine finish. Lovely effort there. It seemed really out of nothing. The defending champions are back in this game.
Yeah, it really doesn't take much. You did say that Waterhouse were playing around with fire, not quite moving the ball with any sort of intent. And an attempted challenge from Kavis Paul fell the way of Massacon. And he smartly found this one, fired it into the back of the net. And Waterhouse, having been in control for majority of this tie so far, 9 minutes out from half-time, Cavalier, the defending champions, have found a way back into it, as they so often do.
What about the young Kimari's got the awareness and the vision to get his head up and just pick out his man there. A wonderful finish. But Kimari Scott definitely worthy of some applause. Got an assist last week and he's gotten another one here on both occasions. And Cavalier really needed it. Mentioned before that he's already coming from a culture of winning, given that he did win the Manning Cup, but on the big stage, the national stadium here for Cavalier, of all teams, he's made an impact. And now this game is, it's anybody's guess as to who go home with the lead after the first leg. But as of now, it's 2-1 to Waterhouse, who was, I was trying to say before the goal scored, they're a team that favors control over chaos as opposed to Cavalier. And I think that bodes well for them over the course of 2 legs, as Cavalier tend to love when teams come at them all guns blazing, but that's not in Waterhouse's identity, especially not under Coach Javier Einstein. But nevertheless, it's going to be a stern test now for Waterhouse. They did boast the second best defensive record in the league, only behind Mount Pleasant in that regard. It will be tested here against a Cavalier attack that has been much improved over the course of the season. Shot to find Bernardo Thomas, unable to on that occasion. And Agent Reed has possession once more. Of course, Agent Reed Jr., son of a former Premier League player who got over 30 caps for the national team. He's experienced plenty of highs and lows in his young career. Now they're on the attack. Cavalier, Massicott tried to turn provider for young Kimari Scott, who wants a foul but won't get it.
He thought he was upended on that occasion. But once again, Waterhouse not dealing with that danger well enough. And once you give sharks like Cavalier even an inkling of there being blood in the water, they will strike. And they have already once more in this game. And they're certainly looking to do so again to level things up. Significant amount of time left in this tie.
Taken here, looking for young Scott, and seemingly giving away a free kick here. Sean Amos will take. Just 40 minutes gone into this, and we already have 3 goals, just as we had in the first half, I believe, for Racing Portmore. It was 2 rather, but nevertheless, this game has produced it all. It's been fantastic thus far, and if you want to continue observing all the action, you can do so on the Jamaican Premier League YouTube channel. For all those who may be wondering, but here, now the ball is Cavalier. Henry just assisting his options, searching for teammates. They're just content at the moment to just play around the back. Waterhouse retaining position with Gardenia now, and doesn't win a foul there. Christopher Ainsworth surging down that left-hand side, trying to create some danger, unable to. That's clear downfield towards Bernardo Thomas, who himself wanted a foul, but that eventually came off of him and will go out for a throw-in for the defending champions. Ainsworth with a cross, but it goes beyond Scott, and that's clear downfield. It's Leng on the ball and plays it out wide now for Lewis Watson. Pass and field for Scott. Laid off for Milan. Too much curve on that pass there. That time from Shamar Watson, and that will go out for a throw-in.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll want that one back. It was a very good passage of play from Cavalier. Finally found some space in the midfield area as he tried to spread the play. Unable to do so. I assume Waterhouse would be the team that wants halftime much more of the two. Started the game well, got the 2 goals, but momentum has certainly shifted in favor of Cavalier, I would say, over the last few minutes.
And Thomas is fouled there.
Christopher Ainsworth, a Cavalier player, going into the book.
Set piece here for Waterhouse, and it seems that Shamar Dyer will go along with it. He'll put this into the fray. That will be caught by Jamari Gordon in goal. Played into Scott, turns out of danger, and unfortunately for him, his teammate was offside. Unable to collect that pass there.
Roger Williams taking his time once more. Waterhouse haven't quite seemed comfortable in possession, I would say, since around the 25th minute or so. They certainly haven't since the goal. Cavalier just applying just a touch more pressure, which has led to the discomfort as we approach 4 minutes of stoppage time at the end of this first half.
That's headed out of play. Really does seem to be shaping up to be an exciting contest. And I guess the question is, will we see another goal before the end of the half? With the way it's been going thus far today, which does seem to be raining goals, one can only hope. There to just, well, Dallas rather went across to just collect the throw in, and cross came in, but not a great one, and that's cleared by Cavalier. And despite his hard running, trying to chase that, Cavalier's goal scorer Darryl Massicott is running will be in vain, as that will be a throw in for Waterhouse. Downfield, Thomas traps it and wins a throw in here. Of course, the return leg for both of the quarterfinals will be played on Wednesday. And it most certainly will be an exciting climax into this round, which has already produced some fireworks. Ronaldo Robinson got Portmore United off to a blazing start after a quick fire double. It seemed for all the world as though Portmore were going to just soar into a commanding lead in the first leg. of their quarterfinal against Racing United, only for them to be undone by some pretty poor defending in the end. Tajay Grant and Nikhil Ellis showing just why they're two of the most feared attackers in this league, getting their names on the score sheet, helping Racing United to claw their way back into this tie and set up what should be an exciting second leg come Wednesday night. But Waterhouse on the attack themselves, and they want a penalty. Referee looks the other way,
and I'm quite surprised that he did as well. It seemed as if there was a tug long enough to warrant a foul being called. The attack is not over as yet, but Cavalier might have gotten away with one there. Let's now see on the replay. It was a loose touch by Gio Leng, who has had a poor game, and I'm surprised that one hasn't been called. I really am surprised that one hasn't been called.
There is contact there from Adrian Reed Jr. there, but perhaps the referee just, in his estimation, just didn't deem it to be enough for him to go to ground. Dallas played it to Godinho, but couldn't quite trap it, just too much on the pass. Leacock, lovely turn away from Livingston Morrison. Gets the return pass there as well from Kimani Campbell. Tried to get a cross in, but cleared by Giovanni Leng. Waterhouse will just be happy to take the lead into the break, because, as you mentioned before, just a few moments ago, Leger, they have been second best in large parts of the latter half of the second half. But as we come to the break now, score reads defending champions Cavalier 1, Waterhouse 2.
It has been an intriguing first half between the defending champions Cavalier and Waterhouse. Waterhouse took an early lead. Two very well taken goals. And here are those goals. Leacock driving through the center of that Cavalier defense. Denardo Thomas intelligently finding Neron Barrow in acres of vacated space. And an intelligent finish gave Waterhouse the lead early. Another defensive mix-up, this one much more blatant, led to Denardo Thomas sneaking in past Akil Henry, past Jamari Gordon, and finding the second goal in this game. Cavalier then would try and claw their way back into it. It was a good attempt by Adrian Reed Jr. Roger Williams with an excellent save. It almost was 3. And this one seemed as if it was going to be called a penalty. It wasn't. But Waterhouse eventually wilted. Scott finding Massicott. And the lead halved. Cavalier no less than they deserve as well. They've really found a way back into this game. And Massicott finding Scott. And that's a very valid appeal at a foul. So too this one, as Adrian Reed Jr. had his hands all over Kimani Campbell. Both penalties or appeals for a penalty not called. And at the end of the first half, the scoreline reads Cavalier 1, Waterhouse 2.
We'd just like to take the time to just thank our sponsors. Of course, tonight's Jamaican Premier League playoff presentation is proudly brought to you by our valued partners who continue to power the growth of Jamaican football. Special thanks to Ray and Nephew, the official title partner of the Jamaican Premier League. And Visit Jamaica, bringing the spirit of Jamaica to the world. We also I'd like to acknowledge our league partners, CB Foods, Admiral Sports Development Fund, the STF of course, and the club partners, which of course do include for Cavalier the Fosco Oats and Tankwell, the proud partners of Waterhouse. We'd like to thank all our sponsors and partners for their continued investment in the development of local football and the future of the Jamaican Premier League.
I'm a red for the country. Rear rum, it have to come with me.
No matter with the bad vibes.
Poor rear rum, a celebration time.
I feel we culture. Make we show ya Jamaican culture.
And if you overprove from, we just have to do it for the culture.
A CB chicken, a better way. Introducing air chill chicken. It have more flavor, you don't know what you're missing. It tastes better, full of flavor in the kitchen. Better value, better taste, better chicken. CB chicken, tastes way better.
My chicken, dad.
Air chilled chicken,
Full of flavor.
taste way better.
Better value, better taste, better chicken.
No antibiotic and hormone free.
Have you tasted the new air chilled chicken? A my chicken nut.
CB chicken, it tastes way better.
I save from VM Building Society. Every deposit got me here. Every step forward put me in the driver's seat.
For everything you're looking forward to, open an iSave account today. Visit gotomyvm.com to get started.
Every $25,000 you save with iSave earns an entry to win cash or a new home of your own. The more you save, the more entries you get, and every entry has a chance to win a brand new home of your own. VM iSave is the key to winning.
Here's to the early risers, and we are here all-nighters, the go the extra milers, and let's do it until it works, workers. People who are powerful, because they power through, day after day, challenge after challenge. You see,
Corners to Cavalier, to Waterhouse is none. Both teams haven't been caught offside yet. One yellow card has been brandished to Cavalier, none to Waterhouse, and of course neither team yet to be a man down. As you can see, Waterhouse have been for much of the game the better team according to the statistics, and it's pretty much how it's played out. That's why they're 2-1 ahead. But we'll be back after the break, ladies and gentlemen.
true power is not something you can buy or collect. It's something that starts on the inside, and you always know it when you see it. Sunshine Snacks Peanuts, proud supporters of the powerful.
Ray and Never, feel we culture. Yo!
New beginning, we winning, so share our spirit where you living, yeah.
Share it.
I make we all a one par, you don't know we come from far.
From far, anytime we red, feel we country. Rear rum, it have to come with me.
No matter with the bad vibes.
Poor rear rum, a celebration time.
I feel we culture. Make we show ya Jamaican culture.
And if you overprove from, we just have to do it for the culture.
A CB chicken, a better way. Introducing air chill chicken. It have more flavor, you don't know what you're missing. It tastes better, full of flavor in the kitchen. Better value, better taste, better chicken. CB chicken, tastes way better.
My chicken, dad.
Air chilled chicken,
Full of flavor.
taste way better.
Better value, better taste, better chicken.
No antibiotic and hormone free.
Have you tasted the new air chilled chicken? A my chicken nut.
CB chicken, it tastes way better.
I save from VM Building Society. Every deposit got me here. Every step forward put me in the driver's seat.
For everything you're looking forward to, open an iSave account today. Visit gotomyvm.com to get started.
Every $25,000 you save with iSave earns an entry to win cash or a new home of your own. The more you save, the more entries you get, and every entry has a chance to win a brand new home of your own. VM iSave is the key to winning.
Here's to the early risers, and we are here all-nighters, the go the extra milers, and let's do it until it works, workers. People who are powerful because they powered through. Day after day, challenge after challenge. You see, true power is not something you can buy or collect. It's something that starts on the inside, and you always know it when you see it. Sunshine Snacks Peanuts, proud supporters of the powerful.
What do? Kid follow. Good friend, better than pocket money. And if you can't catch Quaco, you catch him short. Just like the proverb, Bosco Oats is ingrained in Jamaica. From me yai there me knee, Mummy used to always remind me of those good old Jamaican proverbs to keep me wise. Proverbs like, what goat do? Kid follow. Good friend, better than pocket money. And if you can't catch Quaco, you catch him short. Just like the proverb, Bosco Oats is ingrained in Jamaica. From me yai there me knee, Mummy used to always remind me of those good old Jamaican proverbs to keep me wise. Proverbs like, what goat do? Kid follow. Good friend, better than pocket money. And if you can't catch Quaco, you catch him short. Just like the proverb, Bosco Oats is ingrained in Jamaica. From me yai there me knee, Mummy used to always remind me of those good old Jamaican proverbs to keep me wise. Proverbs like, what goat do? Kid follow. Good friend, better than
Feel culture, yo. New beginning, we winning, so share our spirit where you living, yeah. Share it. I make we all a one par, you don't know we come from far. From far, anytime we rep, feel we country. Rear rum, it have to come with we. No matter with the bad vibes. Poor rear rum, a celebration time. I feel we culture. Make we show ya Jamaican culture. And if you overprove from we just a do it to we culture.
A CB chicken, a better way. Introducing air chill chicken. It have more flavor, you don't know what you're missing. It tastes better, full of flavor in the kitchen. Better value, better taste, better chicken. CB chicken, tastes way better. Air chilled chicken, taste way better. Better value, better taste, better chicken.
No antibiotic and hormone free. Have you tasted the new air chilled chicken? On my chicken nut.
CB chicken, it tastes way better.
I save from VM Building Society. Every deposit got me here. Every step forward put me in the driver's seat.
For everything you're looking forward to, open an iSave account today. Visit gotomyvm.com to get started.
Every $25,000 you save with iSave earns an entry to win cash or a new home of your own. The more you save, the more entries you get, and every entry has a chance to win a brand new home of your own. VM iSave is the key to winning.
Here's to the early risers, and we are here all-nighters, the go the extra milers, and let's do it until it works, workers. People who are powerful because they powered through. Day after day, challenge after challenge. You see, true power is not something you can buy or collect. It's something that starts on the inside, and you always know it when you see it. Sunshine Snacks Peanuts, proud supporters of the powerful.
Rayan never feel we culture, yo. New beginning, we winning, so share our spirit where you living, yeah. Share it. I make we all a one par, you don't know we come from far. From far, anytime we rep, feel we country. Rear rum, it have to come with we. No matter with the bad vibes.
Poor we're my celebration time.
I feel we culture. Make we show ya Jamaican culture.
We are never overproof from we just a do it to the culture.
A CB chicken, a better way. Introducing air chill chicken. It have more flavor, you don't know what you're missing. It tastes better, full of flavor in the kitchen. Better value, better taste, better chicken. CB chicken, tastes way better. Air chilled chicken, taste way better. Better value, better taste, better chicken.
No antibiotic and hormone free. Have you tasted the new air chilled chicken? Or my chicken nut?
CB chicken, it tastes way better.
I save from VM Building Society. Every deposit got me here. Every step forward put me in the driver's seat.
For everything you're looking forward to, open an iSave account today. Visit gotomyvm.com to get started.
Every $25,000 you save with iSave earns an entry to win cash or a new home of your own. The more you save, the more entries you get, and every entry has a chance to win a brand new home of your own. VM iSave is the key to winning.
Here's to the early risers, and we are here all-nighters, the go the extra milers, and let's do it until it works, workers. People who are powerful, because they power through, day after day, challenge after challenge. You see, true power is not something you can buy or collect. It's something that starts on the inside, and you always know it when you see it. Sunshine Snacks Peanuts, proud supporters of the powerful.
Ray and Never, feel we culture. Yo!
New beginning, we winning, so share our spirit where you living, yeah.
Share it.
I make we all a one par, you don't know we come from far.
From far, anytime we rep, feel we country. Rear it have to come with me.
No matter with the bad vibes.
Poor we're my celebration time.
I feel we culture. Make we show ya Jamaican culture.
We are never overproof from we just a do it to the culture.
A CB chicken.
Cavalier did come into this winning, I believe, 4 of their last 5. Waterhouse had won 5 of their last 7. Both teams coming into this with confidence. Waterhouse, Cavalier would have obviously not started the game well, but they grew into it as the game wore on, Jay.
Yeah, they certainly did, and I think Waterhouse and their coaching staff have recognized that Cavalier are growing into the game, and they've responded with changes. Mario Sims has made his entrance for Alexander Bicknell, and Javane Bryan, the aforementioned striker, has made his way on for Neran Barrow. That should signal a system change as well. We did mention that Waterhouse were playing mainly in that flat 3-5-2. I think we'll see more now of
Peacock to Amos. Back to Roger Williams in goal. intercepted there on that occasion.
Yeah, I think having a base, even though it might sound counterintuitive, I think having a base of those two midfielders as opposed to three can possibly give Waterhouse a greater advantage in terms of exerting control. Not because they'll have more bodies in the midfield area, but because they would have an extra body in the attacking area. So when they do build up effectively against this Cavalier team, they'll be able to sustain their attacks in that final third area.
As you mentioned, AJ, they did struggle at times. A number of passes did go into, especially that right-hand side to Naren Barrow for him to chase. And once he did get the ball, very rarely had options to get it off to. But now with the addition of Javin Bryan, who's perhaps a more, let's say, athletic player than Naren Barrow, they do have a bit more support, along with Mario Sims, who's been in the goal so far this season. Will be looking to provide some sort of goal threat from the midfield. But now there's a ball out wide to Leonardo Thomas, who trying to get his second assist of the game. Cross coming in. Oh, he's left it for Sims there. And he plays it for Kimani Campbell. What a strike. And a goal, but that's blocked. Waterhouse already putting some pressure on Cavalier thanks to these newfound changes.
They're starting the second half in a much similar vein to how they started the first. But Cavalier alleviating some pressure through Massicot and winning a foul.
Take a free kick quickly here. Putting it out to Ainsworth. Ooh, lovely pass to find Milan, and he evades the defender, but finds himself running into trouble. Leacock being held, almost wrestled to the ground there by Shatman.
Yeah, pretty easy call there for the referee.
You can see there, most definitely a foul. Has his hands around his waist. Can be no complaints about that one on that occasion.
Maybe surprised that a card wasn't brandished. Davis Paul now. As Waterhouse look to build up once more, and they found a pass to Javin Bryan, but he's unable to trap that one in his grasp.
Played it right for Kamari Scott to chase, but as he always does, Sean Amos coming out on top and that 1v1 there. Now it's Mario Sims looking to build an attack for Waterhouse himself. Finds Bryan once more. A lovely pass from Sims to fight Kimani Campbell wide, and the cross. Well, too close for the goalkeeper Gordon there, and that will be easily dealt with. Dino. Pass it back to Dyer. So wide, he's stopped here. Seems two Waterhouse players are down on the pitch. Sean Amos and the other, I believe, to be Kimani Campbell. Both not intended to at the moment.
Yeah, Campbell immediately took his boot off as he delivered that cross. Maybe an awkward landing as he tried to whip that one in. Not a player that Waterhouse would want to lose, not only for his quality and what he provides down that left-hand side, but also for his leadership. Has been a member of this Waterhouse unit for quite some time. Only a brief intermission when he moved over, as many quality players do, to Mount Pleasant a few seasons ago, but has returned. Did mention that he was a part of the team the last time Waterhouse made the Jamaica Premier League final in 2021 against Cavalier nonetheless. missed his penalty in that penalty shootout. A penalty shootout which Waterhouse went on to lose by 5-4 following a 1-all normal time and extra time stalemate. That was the season where football returned in all its splendor in Jamaica following the COVID pandemic. It was the last time that Waterhouse advanced to the Jamaica Premier League final. They have been in the semi-finals since 2022. And after they were defeated in the third place game, Johnny would never guess who they lost to in that third place game. Cavalier by 4-1.
Campbell across into the box. Dangerous one.
They also did advance to the semi-final a couple of seasons ago, 2023, 2024. And once again in the third place game. After being knocked out in the semi-final, they were beaten handily by Arnett Gardens 5-1. So they haven't had much success in these playoffs, I would say, since the turn of this decade. Looking to put things right, starting with a quarter-final against Cavalier, but this game still finely poised, so is this tie. And for all the prestige that a club like Waterhouse holds, only 2 league titles to their name, a club that has been held in high regard ever since they were founded all the way back in 1968. Initially went by the name of Harlem Kickers. The Waterhouse changed over to the Great West Football Club in 1972 and then settled on the name Waterhouse in 1979. Bounced around in the lower divisions before coming to notoriety in the 1990s, eventually winning their first league title in 1998. A 2-1 aggregate victory against Seba United, now Montego Bay United. And then also won the title in 2006. At that time, JPL was only strictly a league, no playoffs. I must say, I do quite love this playoff format. It adds just an extra layer of spice to things in this league. And the spice is what we're seeing currently. A 3-all draw that we mentioned several times, and I'm sorry for mentioning it several times during our Cavalier Waterhouse game, but such was the quality of the game between Racing United and Portmore United, their quarterfinal first leg. Second leg, of course, taking place this coming Wednesday. So too the second leg of this tie as well. Both teams, of course, would want to be in an advantageous position going into that second leg. Waterhouse currently in that advantageous scenario. But they couldn't keep that ball in down the right-hand side. And it will be a throw-in to Firehouse.
We've seen quite a number of trends bear out in that first game, except for the fact that most of those games between them in the regular season were low scoring. Thankfully it wasn't today. But among some trends that Waterhouse themselves would want to avoid is Cavalier actually one of the better second half teams in the league. Of course, with that man at the helm, they tend to always be able to make adjustments on the fly based on what the game needs, especially in these high-stake moments. I'll be hoping to produce more of the same here, but now they have to defend this free kick. Bernardo Thomas. Oh, decent one, but Couldn't make contact, but now here's Leacock trying to get past the young Scott, unable to. And Cavalier does win a throw-in here.
Yeah, one great thing about Kimari Scott is the amount of effort he puts in defensively. Not only a striker that stays strong in front of goal, but really puts in the hard yards wherever he's playing. I can recall during pivotal times in his under-19 career for Excelsior, the school which he won the Manning Cup title with, the urban area schoolboy football under-19 title. He was put at right back to see out games. And you can see that effort and hard work all across his game. And you can see the effort and hard work in this game, as well as Shamari Dyer wins a foul. Christopher Ainsworth, the guilty party.
Scott, Jay Williams, surrounded by two bodies. In the end, has to settle for just putting that out of play. Scott hits that on. Scott unable to take it into his control. Let's play downfield now. Leng puts it downfield, trying to find Ainsworth, unable to. And there's Leacock. Mario Sims, who came off the bench at halftime, puts that into the path of teammate now. What can he do with it? Tried to get across and Javin Bryan, his fellow substitute. Got a corner out of it.
Not necessarily the most skillful and nimble attacker is Javin Bryan, but did well to earn his team a corner kick there.
Of the crowd there. They've been going and going all night, supporting their teams, and they'll be hoping that they can get one more thing to shout about as a cross comes in here. Denied. Mario Sims wisely lets that run for Dyer, who plays a pass out wide, trying to find his teammate, but Livingston will get there ahead of him. Cavalier not wasting any time really in possession, trying to get it up into their forward players as quick as possible. Really a staple of their game. Agent Reed launches that throw in towards Scott, who heads it on. Carried on once more by Gardenia to Kimani Campbell, trying to put it into the path of Javin Bryan, and that will be reclaimed now. Position of the ball by Cavalier. Campbell switches play. The pass out wide. To Leacock. Touch a bit too heavy. But nonetheless, ball was running back. Has it once more, plays it to Sims. Stepped in play, but ultimately he saw the position that will go up for it. Goal kick to Cavalier. Waterhouse started this half, as I mentioned before, as they began the first, but they seem to have cooled down now. Not as fluid in position as they have been. Not the requisite control, but nonetheless they are in the lead, and at the end of the day, that is what matters most. But now it's Cavalier trying to do something about that. Oh, they're in danger there. Narrowly avoid giving up another goal.
Yeah, they do seem a little bit lackadaisical when defending at times, do Waterhouse. These half chances that should be dealt with easily. And that one cannons off the bar, courtesy of Javin Bryan. Nothing lackadaisical about that shot. We were out of play for quite some time. And it was another pass over the top that Giovanni Leng did not take full certainty of. Javane Bryan almost giving Waterhouse another 2-goal lead in this game.
Denied by the bar there. But he did well, I have to say, he did well to really get something out of that, what seemed to be a half chance, because from that angle, you wouldn't have bet on him taking a shot there, but unleashed a ferocious strike and could so easily have found the top corner of the net to restore that 2-goal lead, as you mentioned, Leger. But as of now, they'll have to be content with having just the 1-goal lead. Cavalier have cut into the deficit and they'll be looking to level the score with that free kick, but not with free kicks of that quality there by Leng. But now his Massacre playing it out wide for Kimari Scott. Has already provided an assist this game. See what he can do once more in the final third. Ainsworth has the ball at his feet, plays it to Kimari Scott, but on the return pass, just couldn't keep it in play. And now Mario Sims can come forward for Waterhouse, and he is fouled once more by Milan.
And I think for maybe the 5th time in this game, I can say a pretty obvious one. Waterhouse looking to build once more. Sims getting more and more involved in proceedings. Technical director of this Cavalier team, Rudolph Speed, still the interim head coach of the Jamaica senior men's national team as well, will be the one in charge as they take on the Unity Cup this summer. But I'm sure all his focus will be on this Cavalier team now, and that will be a foul against Shamari Dallas.
They waste no time getting the ball up the pitch here. And they've actually found Kimari Scott. He's through here, takes on the shot, and he scored! Cavalier! Wow. We say they always do it the hard way, but why not when you know you're always going to come out on top? They're back in this game and back in this tie. It's 2-2.
And 2 goals out of absolutely nothing. We had Denardo Thomas getting an assist and a goal. Kimari Scott now joining that party as well. Aimless pass over the top. Amos trying to use his physicality, trying to bump Kimari Scott out of the way. But the little man with a little center of gravity comes out on top. Used his body excellently and used his right boot even better as he slotted that one home. And just as in the first game of these quarterfinals, the team has come back from a lead, a deficit that we might have thought insurmountable. Cavalier 2, Waterhouse 2.
So the visible frustration from goalkeeper Roger Williams. Bit disappointed with his defense there. Cross coming in, headed away from danger. And I have to say, you can't really blame him, Roger Williams. Man on the ball, Rashawn Amos has been so fantastic through the course of the season, but he'll be looked at as to why he couldn't deal with Kimari Scott there, especially when, as you mentioned before, he was physically at an advantage in that duel. But such as the heart of the little man came out on top there and so composed in front of goal. He's shown that all year long for his school team. And a shot by Sims, and they scored once more. But Sims here, it seemed as though Javane Bryan was about to get his 5th of the season. Was denied.
They have fouled, I believe, Donaldson at the back post here as he was about to head that one in. Waterhouse almost with an immediate response. Goes flying in these playoffs. Almost got another one there.
Maybe Einstein will be tearing his hair out. The fact that they've collapsed too defensively, but for the neutral viewers, ourselves, Roger, most definitely we love a game like this. The drama with the intensity, the back and forth. Of course, we can appreciate the chess match, but most certainly what you come to see goals at the end of the day as a football fan. I have to say that in treated amazing night of football thus far. 4 goals in this one, and standing 6 in the previous game. I'll tell you what, there could be more incoming. Waterhouse now at full kick here. The Northern Thomas and Amos over it. Put themselves in front once more. Thomas with the free kick, headed away. Laying on that occasion, Ainsworth. Take quickly. Campbell. It's a little wide. Taking his man. Leaders.
Yeah, that is Cardell Bengo. Change name. Which is if he made his way on the pitch for Shamari Dallas. So an attacking change immediately for Waterhouse.
So, Marshall issues in the 66th minute. Cavalier's number 4, Shamari. Substitution in the 66th minute. Waterhouse team. So, player number 66, Shamari Dallas, will be replaced by player number 90.
He's on the bench tonight for Waterhouse. Could he have a say in tonight's encounter? He was unbelievable right through the course of the year, not just for Waterhouse since becoming a member of his senior team, but in some youth competitions, in the Manning Cup, as well as some other youth competitions that I've had the privilege to cover. He's already proven that he belongs at this level, scoring 3 goals for Waterhouse in the Jamaican Premier League this season. And at least the goal last week against Dunbarton on the final day of the season, it was essentially a dead rubber as they already secured qualification for the playoffs. But he's proven that he is a match winner. He's a decider of games, and should they need him, or should they summon him, rather, he's very well capable of taking matters into his own hands with his ability, with his IQ. Lovely awareness on the pitch, lovely ability with the ball at his feet. For now, with just about 20 minutes left, scoring is locked at 2-all. Waterhouse surrendering a 2-goal lead. Lovely ball over the top, but go all the way for J. Williams to claim.
And Waterhouse, I'm sure, will be desperate to try and find some momentum in this game once more. Apart from a few spells to start this second half, they really have been second best, I would say, since around the 25th minute or so. They did seem to hit a switch as soon as that second Cavalier goal went in. They need that switch to stay engaged. But Shamar Watson outs that fire. And here comes Cavalier once more.
Darren Massacott racing down that right hand side, but Amos doing the job on that occasion. gaining position for Waterhouse. There's Leacock, plays it into Rio Godinho. Wide to Benbow. Wide attempting to find Kamala Campbell, unable to. It's cleared. And we're just touching the world there. Captain Campbell on the ball, trying to find Brian, held away by Ling. And now Donaldson in position. Cut out once more, and they turn it over. Dale finds Leonardo Thomas, gets the ball back, and trying to thread the needle to Brian. He does, trying to play the ball across the face of the box, but unable to find a teammate. In those situations, you'd want Brian perhaps on the end of those rather than supplying the chance.
Yeah, but it was a good run. No one invading the space that he would have left, like Amos is doing here.
Sends plays it to Thomas, who cuts back and tried to get some space to get the shot off, just couldn't on that occasion.
Waterhouse still sustaining some pressure here with persistence. Leacock trying to probe, trying to find those passes.
Thomas, ooh, lovely ball out wide. Oh, the intent. Leacock, his dribbling has been good. He gets a shot off. It's hit the post. Ooh, Waterhouse very narrowly denied by the upright in their pursuit of a third goal, and Kimari Scott a bit too eager there on the challenge and gives up a foul.
Yeah, Leacock, dazzling feet, got the shot off. It should have been saved much more comfortably by Jamari Gordon, but he did just enough to tip that one onto the left upright. And that's the reason why the scores are still level in this contest. Cavalier preparing a couple of changes. I see Chad James. I see Ramarian Thomas as well.
James, of course, their second top scorer this season, tied with Adrian Reed. He knows where the back of the net is. And they'll be hoping that he can find it off the bench tonight. We'll have about 16 minutes or so to make a difference here tonight in this first leg of the quarterfinals in the ring of the Jamaican Premier League. And they're just confirmation of the changes. Chad James coming in for Shad Milan. Ryan Thomas just scored a couple of weeks ago. That's forward to his name on the season. They'll be hoping that he can too make an impact here.
Number 14, Shad Milan, and player number 7, Aaron.
It's been quite the night, I have to say. We've seen penalties turned down, some comebacks, some goals being scored, some beautiful ones as well. Some mistakes, such as the game of football. Within these four walls, anything can happen on that pitch. And with not long to go, just about 15 minutes or so, we're expecting drama to unfold. Plenty of match winners still on the pitch. Maybe even some on the bench to potentially make an impact. There's Javane Bryan trying to get there ahead of Jamari Gordon, who they're first. Play that downfield for Chad James, but that's headed on wisely by Giving the ball into the arms, the grateful arms of his goalkeeper, Jay Williams. certainly be a foul there by Mario Sims. A lovely bit of skill there from the young midfielder, Agent Reed Jr. Playing field, trying to find Ainsworth, unable to. Now Thomas. Unable to be found by his teammate Mario Sims, and that will be a free kick. Ainsworth picks up the fall there.
It does seem as if each team is trending towards going for a winner in this first leg. And it does look as if Romarian Thomas has a winner in his mind as he deviously places this ball down from 30 plus yards.
Surely he won't go for it from here. Yes, he will, but unable to direct his shot goalward.
Got the power. Technique was okay, but the accuracy let him down in the end.
Another substitution here. It seems it will be a Juma Johnson who come onto the pitch, and Jesus Mario Godinho will make way.
Substitution in the 77th minute for the Waterhouse team. This is player number 39, Jesus Nino, in place of player number 51.
Just downfield, headed on into the path of James. Battled, unable to get it, but still have position of Cavalier. Just confirmation of the change there coming up on the screen. Ainsworth racing to try to keep this in position, and he does. And will go the other way to Waterhouse.
Ainsworth hasn't quite imprinted his quality on this game as yet. Brian looking to do the same, and he's done well there, and has found Cardell Bembo, who's upended.
Thomas gets it out wide to the aforementioned Ainsworth. Looks in field in front of Shamar Watson. Only less than 12 to go in this. It's teeing up nicely for an exciting into this game, where of course the winner of the tie won't necessarily be decided tonight. Still a whole leg to play on Wednesday, but it will still at the end of the night be of utmost importance for both managers to take a lead going into the second leg. And there you can just see a shot of head coach Javier Einstein for Waterhouse. So detailed and meticulous in his preparation. He'll be hoping that his team can get a winner here now on this attack with Bembo. Turns back and finds Daniel Thomas.
Leacock. First touch now for Ajuma Johnson. Well traveled in the Jamaica Premier League, Ajuma Johnson. So too Cardell Bembo, but his pass unable to be controlled by Denardo Thomas. It's a careless bit of play there for Waterhouse as Cavalier now have a throw-in.
Just that wrong towards James, unable to find him. Thomas took a boot out. Oh, and a slip here. And a pretty inopportune moment from Paul, but Amos does well from the resulting cross, and he's absolutely giving it to Paul there. You can't really blame him, he kind of slipped there, but in the end, could have been a costly error. Just coming in there towards Kamari Scott, and that most definitely will be a foul. Seems to catch a stray arm to the face there, Captain Kimani Campbell.
We're calling for it. Jamon Lyle getting prepared for Waterhouse. What can the young supernova talent add to this fixture? He'll have around 10 minutes plus to make his imprint.
And as we get a shot there of him just about to enter the free, I don't think it's a bit too early or too much to say that of all the young talents that have graced this league or this country, there haven't been many as good as him as that age.
Yeah, I've always been of that opinion. A few historians around the league might have some strong words to that statement as Henry fouls Javane Bryan. But I've always been of the strong opinion that for players around the age of 13, 14 years of age, the first time I saw Jamon Lyle play football around that age, he was the best I had seen at that age with my own two eyes. And since then, it's just been up and up for him. A part of that Jamaican team that qualified for the Under-17 World Cup a couple of months ago. And now in senior football, in the Jamaica Premier League playoffs, he'll be looking to make a similar impact. Let's see what he can provide.
Multifaceted player. So he scored 3 goals so far in this Jamaican Premier League season, but really calculated, creating chances as well for his teammates. Really a do-it-all forward. They'll be hoping that he can provide some of that match that he's so accustomed to providing at whatever level he plays here tonight on the biggest of stages. But now Cavalier have a chance to do just that, but linesman flag does go up here for an offside decision, and they'll just be starting play rather quickly. Not long to go, of course. Less than 7 minutes in it. It's possible added time. Johnson. Pass between the lines for Ryan, but he couldn't hold on to it. And that pass towards Scott there, just off the mark a bit. Attempt to just play it around the back at the moment. Waterhouse trying to find a weakness in that back line. They've surrendered position. Cavalier trying to surge forward on the counter. His position, however, Campbell to Sims. Wide to Jimmy Johnson. Into the path now of Javane Bryan. 1v1 with Javane Ling. And he wins a free kick here in a dangerous area for Waterhouse.
Yeah, Juling hasn't had his best night so far. Usually also reliable for Cavalier. Hasn't been at all tonight. And this free kick could be a massive point of danger for this Cavalier team. Mario Sims the one standing over it.
First coming in here, but Waterhouse shirt. And a shot from quite some distance from Juma Johnson. Ambitious effort, but denied. Headed away there, that cross once more. Phil Henry heads it onto Marty Scott, who wins a foul here. Free kick taken quickly. Oh, and he got past his man there, Chad James, and yellow card for Shamari Dyer. Deserved, I have to say.
Yeah, most definitely. Got their second best, was late, and took out Chad James, former Jamaica under-20 representative. Chad James, and he's certainly feeling the full force of that challenge. Confirmation of the yellow card for Shamari Dyer.
And just there we have a little snapshot of what Chad James offers. So quick, he's absolutely rapid, and in an instant he can go by you, as you could see there on that turn. And they'll be trying to perhaps get some more of those tactical falls in to prevent him from running away and causing havoc in those channels, Waterhouse. They'll be hoping, however, that he can do his damage in front of goal. Less than 4 minutes to go here. And I suspect that this free kick will not be taken short by Adrian Reed, who is complaining about the positioning of Lyle. Free kick now. Oh, he finds Kimari Scott. Has support, finds Ainsworth. Lovely turn to get away from his man. Cross coming in now, headed away by Waterhouse, but only as far as Adrian Reed. Out wide once more to Ainsworth. The pass just a bit behind his man there, and that'll be cleared downfield for Cavalier to restart this play here. Launched downfield by Giovanni Ling, trying to find Ainsworth, and he does with some aplomb. Finds Adrian Reed, who takes on the shot, but hoisted over the goal.
Has the quality from that range, does Adrian Reed Jr. Certainly has the quality from that range. Leant back as he was trying to strike that one. And was always going to balloon over the top.
Sims plays it to Johnson, spins away from Thomas. Finds Bryant, who tried to flick it around the corner for an incoming Sims, but he was beaten to it by a Cavalier defender, and that will be played downfield to Chad James, who tried to find Marion Thomas with that little flick on, unable to, however. Neither team yet in terms of throwing the kitchen sink, so to speak, but that will most definitely be a foul there. Chad James winning yet another foul. Unable to really deal with him in those tight spaces. As mentioned before, so rapid.
Around a minute to go in regular time in this first leg quarter-final Jamaica Premier League playoff game. Offside flag was up on the far side. Can either of these two teams find a winner, find that extra gear to get an advantage to play with in that second leg?
Amos to Paul. Wide to Dyer, finds Sims. Finds Bimbo. Plays it to Johnson. Wide now to Amos. Looking in field, trying to find Jamon Lyle. Unable to find him, and now here's Ajuma Johnson. Plays it into Brian. Lost it, but now here's Leacock on it. To Benbo. Cuts inside, lovely fake, and that's a shot! Ooh! What a save by Jamari Gordon. Had to get it over the bar.
Yeah, really good save there. Had his shaky moments during this game, but has provided two very big saves in this second half to keep that Waterhouse score ticker only at 2 for the time being, at least, as that corner kick comes in. And Leacock regains possession for Waterhouse. Now Lyle.
Twinkle toes just dancing around the defenders. Assessing his options here now. Young Lyle tried to finds Sims unable to, however, on that occasion. And now Cavalier can do what they do best and hit them in transition. Chad James running at the defense, trying to go alone, tried to play it into the path of Romarion Thomas, who wants a foul, but he won't get it. And that was a big opportunity for Cavalier there, missed. And you just wonder, with the defenders closing in, could he have taken that shot a bit earlier? But nevertheless, great defending has to be expected by the team with the second best defensive record in the league.
Had to retreat there. Did Waterhouse. Time ticking along here.
Cavalier on the attack once more, but that's cut out. Good defending. Juma Johnson overran his dribble there and loses possession.
Yeah, Waterhouse again trying to build. Cavalier towing in, and the hard work of Cavalier really coming to the fore.
Number 7, number 12,
Kimberly Scott announced as player of the match for this one. Goal and an assist to his name. Excellent performance. But Waterhouse still trying to alter proceedings. So too Cavalier. Chad James unable to find a teammate, but does win a foul.
And I mentioned early in the game that, of course, when Cavalier were 2-0 down, whether or not the overhaul of their team and the influx of youth perhaps played a part as to why they just weren't able to be up for the first half in a game of which the magnitude many of these players have not been able to play in. But it's actually the youth that has stood tall tonight. Marley Scott, as you mentioned before, announced as the man of the match, and deservedly so. As you mentioned before, goal and an assist, did his job in front of goal, but what about his industry, his work rate, how he's been off of it, has composed in front of goal, as he has been hungry off the ball, and a well-deserved man of the match for the young Scot. And that's a full-time whistle. And much like the first leg of the first quarter-final between Racing United and Portmore that ended in a 3-all draw, Cavalier and Waterhouse will have to settle for 2 apiece here. And going into the second leg on Wednesday, when both games will be having their winners decided, it's all to play for in the quarterfinals of the Jamaican Premier League. We've been given an absolute treat of 2 games here. We've been treated to a beauty, and at the end of it, the winner could not be decided. But we do have a second leg to be played on Wednesday, and we'll be hoping that both games serve up a similar amount of excitement and drama that we were served up in the first leg. But now we'll be given a short little commercial break. We'll have the highlights coming up for you, ladies and gentlemen.
Pocket money. And if you can't catch Quaco, you catch him short. Just like the proverb, Bosco Oats is ingrained in Jamaica.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Just be having the highlights of the game. There you can see the surging run from Leacock. Beautiful pass from Thomas into Neron Barr, who opened the scoring with an expert finish, as he so often is able to provide for this Waterhouse team whenever they need it in a big game. And he got us off to a flying start just 2 minutes into the game, and then costly error here. Jamari Gordon, the young goalkeeper, just a bit of miscommunication with Akil Henry at the back there, and proved very costly on that occasion. Donato Thomas, the veteran, taking full ownership there, taking advantage of the miscommunication, opened the score, well, doubled the lead rather. Then we saw this chance here from Adrian Reed Jr., saved, pushed onto the post by Roger Williams. Didn't have much to do early in the game, but he was able to get that save. But then a pivotal moment in the game that could have been 3-0 had that penalty been given, but it wasn't. And Kimarley Scott played it into Daryl Massicott, who kick-started the comeback for the defending champions. Lovely industry and good vision and awareness by the young Scott, who was eventually awarded the man of the match, not least for this effort here. Well, I thought I was about to show the goal, but actually he had a chance before that rather. Couldn't quite get the connection on that shot there, and then another penalty shot for Waterhouse. Another player brought down in the box, but wasn't given. And just a replay of this foul here from Shad Milan, who seemed to have intentions of a dance there, but then that chance once more for Kimarley Scott, who proved to be a menace, a thorn in the side of the Waterhouse defense all night. Non-stop, relentless running. Roger Williams was rather upset with his defense for giving away that chance. And then we had another opportunity for Waterhouse here. Javane Bryan, out of nothing, really engineering a chance for himself. Ferocious effort unleashed, but ultimately hit the bar. But now here's that goal that I was talking about before. Kimarley Scott, man, what a player. Shrugs off a player perhaps 50 pounds heavier than him in the shape of Rashawn Amos, who's been an outstanding defender all season. Got the better of him there and then composed himself well before unleashing that shot into the bottom left corner. Much to the dismay of Roger Williams, who was absolutely livid with his back line. Mario Sims there with an effort saved by Jamari Gordon, who was not his best at times in this game, but made an invaluable save there. Was eventually put into the back of the net by Javane Bryan, but he fouled a Cavalier defender there in the process. And so ultimately it did not count. And then another opportunity for Waterhouse. Leacock getting past a man and getting a shot off as well. Saved, tipped onto the post once more by Jamari Gordon, who, as I mentioned before, started rather slowly but got into the game and prevented it from getting any worse. Kept the scores level. A number of feisty challenges coming in from both teams. And just a chance to relive that moment there for that foul on Javane Bryan, who did come on for the goal scorer. Neron Barrow and Chad James had his fair share of fouls being given to cause some problems to that Waterhouse backline. But now, perhaps the pick of the bunch among the saves that Jamari Gordon had to make. Wonderful effort to deny Cardell Bembo. But ladies and gentlemen, What about that first leg of the quarterfinals in both of those games for Portmore United and Racing and the two-time defending champions Cavalier and Waterhouse? But it's been an absolute pleasure commentating for you tonight. I've been John Stewart, and alongside me was Leger Williams, and we'll be back for Wednesday night here at the National Stadium when we present to you the second leg of the quarterfinals of the Jamaican Premier League playoffs. And we'd like to just quickly thank once more our sponsors: CB Foods, Admiral Locker Room, Fosca Oats, and the Tank Weld Steel and Lumber Supermarket.